Afternoon, everyone. I'll be brief. The good news is we've got some money to spend. Do I have your attention? Great. So my name's John Dovey and I work at UE. I'm a professor of screen media because once upon a time in the olden days I was a filmmaker and a video artist and a documentarist. These days I mostly work as an academic entrepreneur, bringing together research money from the university world and working with creative businesses to make things happen in the world and to make a difference. We've just got two big projects that altogether amount to 10 million quid to invest in the Bristol and Bath and the Southwest Creative Industries region. For a long time, creative industries were invisible to government industrial policy. But as a result of about 20 years' work of lobbying and policy work by people like Caroline Norbury and others, the government have now recognised what it is that we all do as being part of the industry that they need to support, which is very good news for us because it means that they've put us into their industrial strategy and they've started to release some money, and some of that money is going through the university sector, which we're endeavouring to share with you. So, the first of these projects is called the Southwest Creative Technology Network, and it runs with UE, Bristol and Watershed, an outfit called Collider in Exeter, and the Universities of Falmouth, Plymouth and Bath Spa. And what we're doing with the Southwest Creative Technology Network is running 3 programs of development. The first is around immersion, the second is around AI and automation, and the third will be around data. The immersion call is already underway. We have some research fellowships going on. We have some new talent people working, and we're going to be producing some prototypes in the spring. The call for automation and AI that you need to keep your eyes open for will be in November, and we'll be recruiting people for that next program through the winter. And then after that, we'll be looking at data. The second program that we're running, and the we in this instance is Watershed, Pervasive Media Studio and UE. I'm based in the Pervasive Media Studio, which you've already heard about from both Seth Jackson and Silas Adekunle this afternoon, which is the space over the water that's a kind of innovation space. And I'm the university end of that operation for UE, one of many actually I should say that are down there now. The second program we're running is called the Bristol and Bath Creative R&D Cluster, which is Watershed, as I said, and then Bristol and Bath universities and also Bath Spa. Now, we're in very early days with that. We only heard we got the money in the summer. We're still negotiating contracts and designing the program, so we're not exactly sure how that program's going to look to you when it reaches the outside world as it is. But we do know that we've got some prototypes to build and some business development support and some research to do. And it's all about mobilizing the research of the universities to actually increase the productivity and growth in the sector here in Bristol and Bath. Now, the pitch for this bid was built around the data from the Nesta's Creative Nations report that showed that there are around 20,000 jobs in this region that are in the creative industries. Upwards of 10% of the businesses in our region are in the creative industries, and we produce about 780 million pounds worth of GVA to the economy. So we're not lifestyle businesses. Don't let anybody ever tell you that working in creativity is a passion project or a lifestyle business. We're a serious part of the regional economy, and we have to be understood in that way, and I think we should take ourselves seriously at that level, as I'm sure that you all do. However, the most interesting data points for us in the research were that the average creative business size in this region is 3.6 people. So it's tiny. But it has some of the highest productivity in creative industries in the whole of the country, which is also matched by the productivity in the tech sector, which is also comes out top of productivity ratings across the country, the tech sector in this region. So there's something very interesting going on here, which is small businesses that are very agile and very productive. And I think that's what we have to try and work with and what we have to try and support. I think our challenge is to try to support the productivity and the growth of that ecosystem without killing it by assuming that everybody wants to scale up and exit after 5 years, which is the kind of tech sector model of development. In setting up the bid, we went and asked various companies and we did various consultations, and what people said to us were three things about what this cluster needs in our region. First of all, support in developing new processes to reach new audiences and new markets. So our cluster will support business partners in finding new ways to engage in audiences of the future, where understanding engagement for the audiences of the future is a key research theme. And we'll do that through thinking about the relationships between XR, new forms of connectivity such as 5G, and performance and content and liveness. So we're interested in the intersection between XR, 5G, and liveness as ways of thinking about developing the thematics in our region. Secondly, the reputational work that we want to do with the cluster. We'd like to finish up in a situation where people around the world recognize the West as being an innovation place that's really interesting, that has a reputation that's not based on Bleston, Wallace and Gromit and trip-hop, but that is actually understood as being for something new, something more 21st century, and that actually we can support a critical mass of these kind of agile micro businesses so that the Northern Powerhouse is a name, Silicon Fen is a name. Nobody quite gets that around this region yet. Yet it's happening on the ground, so we need to do some reputation building around that. We also need to look, and people told us that the other thing that was really important was skills and inclusion. That's been talked about a lot already this afternoon. But the challenges, to meet the challenges 1 and 2, they demand new talent coming through to lead the cluster in the future. However, the success of the creative cluster will produce social inequality and monocultural products unless talent development is understood as being inclusive. Talent is everywhere, but diversity and inclusion are unmet challenges for the creative industries as they stand at the moment. So our program for this project is to include R&D fellowships, as well as new talent fellowships, where industry, academia, and new talent come together. We're also going to take the ideas from those research fellowships into 10 250 grand investment pots, which we hope industry will come and match, to produce bigger projects so that we do the R&D and produce something that actually can find an audience, and then our industry partners will help us take it to market, or we should help them take it to market. We'll also have a new talent fund, a placement program, and a workshop program for young people in order to address some of the skills and inclusion challenges, to try to create these kind of pathways into the industry and into our creative innovation sectors that at the moment might be quite opaque to people who very rarely come into the centre of Bristol, let alone hang out at the Isle of Feeney or the watershed. We have a bunch of partners, some big, some small. People had to write us very nice letters to get the money, including Aardman and the BBC and Weka and Exmos, but also we have Strange Thoughts for one of our partners, Yogscast. Some of you will know them. We talked to them about this bit as we were putting it together, and a range of other people, some of whom have already been mentioned. We're currently developing R&D ideas around extended performance, measuring immersion, digital placemaking, taking some content and thinking about how it can be made part of a place in the way that Landmark we're talking about with Seth earlier on, and voice activation. We're very interested in voice activation. So success for us would look like a cluster that has embedded confidence to invest in R&D, and it understands what R&D is, and it understands the value of R&D, and where international and national partners see the West as a European centre of creative tech innovation. Success would be the West of England combined authority, putting creativity, culture and tech at the heart of its industrial policy as it moves forward. Success would be growth that's inclusive, where equality of opportunity builds a talent pipeline that represents everybody in the region. And finally, where companies from our region are able to seize new opportunities in the developing markets for new products and services around things like XR, voice activation, the kind of things I've been talking about. So that's us. We'll be launching our first calls in the new year. If you want to talk to me about it afterwards, I'll be hanging about a bit afterwards to have a drink. I'll be very happy to share more information. But we are still at the design stage, so watch the space, watch the watershed, watch UE, watch Creative England, watch Bristol Media, because they'll all know what's going on when that money starts to come out. Okay, thanks.